Cool. So this is kind of cool. My partner and I, we have a company called DEG, Digital Endorsement Group. And so it's focused more on heavy digital and advertising. That's kind of the agency. It's like a digital advertising agency. And so this is what they currently have as their LinkedIn lead gen stuff. Not too good, not very disruptive, not that meaningful at all. So I'm going to skip over this. This is just post copy, but the point is to really kind of make an impact with their audience. Their audience are CPAs, bookkeepers, and payroll professionals, and they're just inundated with just bland, repetitive, technical stuff out there. So we establish our goals, we establish what our attributes are, and these attributes came from client conversations. And this is and the reason why I'm sharing this is because, again, this is real world stuff I like to share with my students. These are things that, as a creative, I'm solving problems. I'm also solving a brand problem because I can't really change the brand, but I can impact their brand. And so, based off the conversations we had with them, these attributes came out of those conversations. They wanted a humorous tone. They wanted to be conversational. They wanted to be disruptive, and it needs to be scalable. So it was pretty cool. So this first concept we did is called Power Up, and it's based off of that little robot that they already were using. And so what I did was I kind of used that existing robot character and fed it into Midjourney and created specific prompts. And I tailored those prompts to be like a friendly Pixar robot that has a lot of kind of friendly characteristics to it. So I created these multiple, more realistic robot characters to kind of, be a part of his look. And then we just create these ads based off of it. So they could be video ads, they could be carousel ads, they could be single ads. But the whole point is to kind of extend on his existing brand, and that existing brand is like the little robot character. So this next one was a concept that focuses on the key benefits and the outcome. And the outcome, I had to really sort of walk them through this concept because they're so analytical, because these guys are CPAs. They're just bookkeepers and CPAs that started this company. And so they get kind of stuck on just kind of the facts. And so as a creative, you have to paint a picture. And you have to get them to sort of understand the vision of what you're trying to present. And, this project you have to, if you were presenting to a real client, you might have to do that too, because you might be really pushing them out of their comfort zone. So with this one, they kind of got hung up on their own self. But they open up to understanding who their future target audience could be. And that's what this concept is about. This concept is specifically, like, even this visual and this person here is completely different than the way my clients look. They are kind of middle-aged men. And I specifically chose this character to be completely different and to be more of a representative of their future target audience. And so it took them a little coaxing to kind of understand that my objective is to speak to your future target audience, not you, like we're him, not the client, but the audience. And so it's the same thing. I'm using this as an example to teach all of you is you have to, like, when you're solving a problem for the target audience, which is relevant to what we're doing now, personas, that's why it's key, when you're identifying who your persona is and you're solving for the persona and the target audience, you can most of the time win any argument with the client. Because if the client starts reverting a little bit, like this one did, when he looked at this, and you see, like, I have a wide range of people here, and their age group and their ethnicity and all of these different genders, right? So, and that's very intentional. I intentionally wanted to like represent a broad spectrum of people because that's his future target audience, not him. So he at first was kind of struggling with this a little bit, but then after I really sort of like walked him through it and said, this concept is solving for your future target audience, and it's solving for the outcome, not the problem. It's representing the outcome. The outcome is the pain point. The pain point is QuickBooks and Intuit and their competitors are giving people headaches and frustration, and we're creating a benefit that then kind of puts you in a humorous state of mind, this euphoric kind of Zen feeling. So he got it. He was like, okay, I get it. Like, I like it. The next one was real wild. This one was really, really fun. And I know, and the reason why I'm also showing you this is because I know that there's always conversations around the ethics around AI. And yes, people can sit here and definitely talk about whether or not there's certain ethical considerations and those kind of things. But I could never present these concepts if I actually had to go out and photograph this stuff. Okay? I could never represent this because he doesn't have the budget. These photo shoots, like these photo shoots right here, if I had to really do a photo shoot here, this would probably cost him like 50, 60 grand, probably. The whole concept shuts down. So I really want to open up your perspective on thinking about utilizing the technology for its benefits and its advantages. And the advantage is I, as a creative director, can create concepts that I can execute and scale on in an affordable way. Because I could never present this if I had to truly execute on it. Bree.
So if you're presenting it like with the AI, or like if you actually go through with that design, will you like actually do a real photo shoot, or will you just continue to use the AI?
We're going to most likely just use the AI because right now, he doesn't have a budget to be able to do additional, like a real photo shoot because, you guys, maybe somebody has experience doing photo shoots at this level. I do. And to do photo shoots with models. So you look at this, right? You would have to rent a space out, first of all. I would have to team up with a production team, and I know some local, like Pure Cinema, 10 Stories, these guys. So we would have to get a photo and video crew together. We would have to get models. So let's say I want a character that looks like her. I want a character that looks like him, her, him. And finally, like these two people as well, or these other three people. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe up to 10 different models. You're already looking at probably 20 grand just to pay models. And then you need a hairstylist. Then you need insurance. You have to have insurance. Then you need multiple areas, right? You need to go scout these places, because these are different, like little kind of studio places, right? She has her place. This person's here. So there's different like locations. Then you got a location scout. Then you might have to pay to shoot there. You're looking at like a $60,000 to $80,000 production. And there's just no way that he would ever be able to buy into this. So, yes, we absolutely can run with this AI right now, like this week. Boom, production ready. Carl,
I was just wondering, what does scalable mean in this context?
wonderful question. Scalable, when I speak to scalability, I speak to production efficiencies and also different sizing and execution. So a concept needs to be able to be produced quickly and efficiently to be profitable. Let's be real. We need to make money, right? So I need to be able to present something and then turn around and execute on it in different ways because we have different messaging. So this concept needs to be flexible enough and to scale quickly enough to adapt to also other messaging. And then when let's say, hire a production person, they need to be able to take this and then mass produce on it very quickly. So it needs to be also have, and I talk about sort of a shelf life, scalability of a shelf life. So this concept, Zen, this concept could scale over months because it's a solid enough concept that I could continue to build on, and I can also build on the different characters. So there's a lot of flexibility and scalability around this. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So the more experience all of you have in the workplace, you start understanding not only to be creative, but to be profitable and to be efficient. And that you have to learn how to be efficient so you can make money and stay in business. Because no matter what, this is a job. This isn't fine art. Okay? Remember that. This is not fine art. This is design and advertising and photography. You're getting paid to solve a problem for a client, and a client's paying you. So no matter what, you need to make money and stay in business. So that's the reality of what we do. Melinda.
Do you notice that much of a huge difference of AI versus doing all the fun extra work and stuff, which I'm totally on board for, but just like comparison of quality, even if it wasn't a budget issue? Like,
So let me make sure I have your question is, can I tell the difference between this kind of AI and a real photograph?
yeah, like I guess it's kind of like maybe is there like a resolution like limitation or like like as you're designing like if I have like my own raw photo that I took, I feel like I would be able to manipulate it more than what AI could produce. Like, is that like a true
You
thing?
can produce, check this out. I'm going to show you a real world thing. Midjourney right here. You're going to see my working dashboard of what else. Look, he wanted a dragon instead of a lady. Like, well, you'll see the next concept. So I'm going to use this as a great example. Let's choose her.
What about
First of all,
scalability?
First of all, could you ever go out and photograph this? No. This isn't even doable. This is, and you're laughing because this is kind of funny, right? That's the tone. You see my prompts here? Here's my prompts. Weird and quirky full body shot of a wholesome middle-aged mixed race woman with long linked hair and glasses sitting with a large dragon on a beach in New York during sunset, extremely happy and a massively large oversized smile, holding a huge stack of papers looking at the camera. It is a Sony Alpha A7 II portrait photography. She is wearing bright teal button shirt, beautiful soft lighting, bright studio lighting, like high resolution, high quality, medium format film photo. That's my prompt.
Does that mean you can scale it like billboard size?
Yes. So get this. See upscale over here on the right? So there's a lot of things you can do. But what I've learned is it's better to just go ahead and upscale it and then bring it into Photoshop and then extend it out. So with this, I want more sky and I want more bottom. Like I want this image to go this way. But what I'm going to do first is I'm going to upscale subtle. Close it out. Now it's doing its upscaling. So basically it's turning it into a high resolution image, Carolyn. So, but I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go ahead and download it. Pretend like it's a high res. Download. I love this one. This one's ridiculous, man. Look at all these other ones. This one's my favorite too. Look at her. He didn't like the Jaguar. He thought it was too aggressive. I was like, okay, whatever. So then what I do is hold on. Bring it into Photoshop. I already did these guys. Whoops.
So is Midjourney pretty good about keeping? I feel like when I've used Chat GPT and changed from one generated image to another, it's not necessarily good at keeping like the characteristics from one to another. So it doesn't like I can see that your characters look the same.
Right.
Is
Yeah.
Midjourney better
I
at
build
that?
off of those. And what you do is you can take, for instance, right, this character here. You can do subtle variations right here. But if you notice, I had already used her as a base image. So I used her as a reference. I used that image as a reference image to then
That makes sense.
create her. But then what I can also do is I can rerun a variation. Like right now, I'm going to hit subtle, and it's going to create 4 subtle variations of her, and it's going to tweak it a little bit. It's gnawing on her face. It's hilarious.
I
So
feel like
you
when
see
I've
the
done,
subtle variations?
yeah, I feel like when I've done similar things in Chat GPT, it's not as consistent as I'm seeing here in
Because
Midjourney.
ChatGPT isn't as good.
Yeah, that's what I was asking. That was my general question. Thank you.
So then, like, I want to take this, I make the image a layer, and then what I do is everything keeps opening up. I extend my canvas. Okay. And now we use Photoshop Gen AI to fill it in. So I select up here. I select down here. Hold on. There you go. And now I use my generative fill. I don't even need to necessarily write a prompt. It's so good. And it gives you like 3 variations. And then I'm going to move on. Boom. See that? And it's not always perfect. That's probably the better one. So, and that's not even exactly where I want it, but it's pretty darn good. And then what you can do is you can increase. I flatten it. And now if you go to filter, neural filters, now you can upscale it to be 600, like even bigger in Photoshop. So you can go to your neural filters, give it a second here, and go to super zoom. And then what you do is you use this magnifying glass to adjust how much larger you want it to be. So I want it to be 3 times as big. So it'll be massive. It'll be like an absolute high-res image that you could use for print and everything else. And I did everything in AI in 5-10 minutes. It's pretty powerful. You can't deny how powerful it is. And to go back to solving problems and why I'm actually walking you through this is because everyone here should be utilizing these technologies to be able to create imagery for your projects. Like you absolutely learn it, learn Midjourney, learn how to prompt, and then you're able to kind of flex your creative skills a little bit more and to be able to help problem solve for your customer, especially whenever they don't have the big Geico budget. So there you go. Oh yeah, yeah. So just to show you, this was that concept was this one I called spirit animal. And I love the eagle. I love the eagle. They loved it. Now the only comment he said was, I feel like a jaguar is too aggressive. Can you turn it into a dragon? I go, yeah, sure. I'll make it a dragon. He absolutely, we're going to run it. It's going to go live next week. Bitch it. I was so stoked. So yeah, it was a really, really cool thing to be able to see sort of play out. And I just wanted to share it with you because I really encourage everyone to utilize as many things as they possibly can to be successful and to do work that you're proud of. So,
And then do you hire a
an,
developer to do all the back end type stuff, or does your company
those
do
are
that?
LinkedIn ads. So
Okay.
the developer, I'm able to do everything. The only thing I can't do is like hardcore animation and motion. So good question. How does the copyright for the pictures you cannot copyright AI images. You cannot. And that's one thing that you always have to communicate to your client up front, that they're okay with it. That we're going to go to market with this, but he can't own the rights to those images. So, yes, good question, Marie. It's very important to communicate that. This is an AI image right here. This house I created. Melinda.
So if they don't have the rights, but they could use the image on their website, is it they just can't use the image for any kind of financial game like actually selling the image? Is that what that is?
That's a very good way to explain it. Correct. So they cannot turn around and try to use the image for profit of reselling. There's quite a few, there's definitely some fine points in, the legal language that Midjourney has out there. But basically that kind of sums it up. I think that's a really good way to sum it up, Melinda. They can use that in advertising, but they can't use it in a way that they are selling it. Yes.
And do you have to like credit Midjourney, or is that somewhere within their like site or?
No, not really. So if you go here, what are the copyrights on using Midjourney images for advertising? While
And
users
then
have the right to use images generated by Midjourney based on their subscription terms, they don't obtain traditional copyright ownership over these images. They forfeit any exclusive claim to the works they generate on the platform. That doesn't mean that you can't use the images for various purposes. So just like you said, my client can't go, I own this image, nobody else can use this image. You can't do that.
so another company can use the exact same image from their LinkedIn ads, or they have to regenerate it themselves as close
No,
as
I mean,
possible.
technically, they could reuse the images.
They can
Technically,
literally just like grab it,
they could.
copy
It's like
paste
stock
kind of thing.
imagery.
Okay.
So the most of the copyright language and usage language is very similar to stock imagery. You're not buying the exclusive rights to, photography, iStock, right? iStock, everybody knows iStock. So I want to use, I want to use this little four-legged critter right here, this girl holding. I can't own the exclusive rights to this image unless I want to pay a premium. And then what you could do, Carolyn, is you could say, I am going to pay for the exclusive rights of this image for 1 year, or 2 years, or 3 years, or 5 years. You can do that. You can negotiate terms.
On stock imagery, but can you do that on AI images?
Not AI.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you. That's
far,
interesting.
no. So far, not that I know of. It's kind of like open. It's basically the concept of open source, right? So if you create it, I'm creating it here, right? I mean, oh, look at that little fella. He's got a cute face. Technically, somebody could take my concept and run with it. Good conversation. It's relative to our assignment personas. So I would, I mean, if you've learned this kind of platform and you want to use imagery that you've created for your personas, go for it. Yeah, Melinda, go for it. Yeah, question.
Last one. And then, okay, so you design a website and let's say like you write like a really cool verbiage stuff on it and like they have cool taglines and you came up with that. Like is it just like for you to like post a copyright? You just say like the verbiage is copyrighted, like not the images or something or
Yeah, you can do something like that. Yeah, for sure. So for this specific client that I've talked to you about, I created. It's starting to get a little. It's getting a little slow on me. I did create concept imagery and AI for the photo shoot. So when we teamed up with the photographer, I already had a mood board based off imagery that I had made in AI. So it really helped it out. It helped me be very specific. So his brand is a combination, if I can, it's just being a little. So his brand is a combination of real photography in AI. So this right here, you're seeing, we did this photo shoot at a cafe in Escondido, and this image in the back behind it is AI. You can't even tell the difference. You wouldn't know that that was AI at all. He doesn't own the exclusive rights to that image, but it is original. I mean, I created it. Nobody else created it, so it's pretty original. So, you can. And then also this image in his footer, that's AI. And it's just kind of an obscure kind of life science. Like I did a microbiology life science abstract image prompt, and I got these really weird kind of microbiology abstract images that he really liked. And we ended up using it in the back, just as background imagery. So, yeah, kind of cool. All right. Any more questions before we actually get into this? Awesome. Okay, so class should be recorded, same as usual. Break. We're going to be talking about wireframes today. And we're going to do a breakout session to do a review of your work in progress for your personas, because your personas are due on Wednesday. Also, as a reminder, I will not be teaching that class. Bradford will be teaching it. Also, please pay attention. Everybody pay attention to what I'm about to say. It will not be the same Zoom. I will post on Canvas the Zoom he will be using. It's his Zoom. So I'm going to repeat myself. Please pay attention. It is not my Zoom. It will be his Zoom, and I will post that in Canvas. So please Don't be sitting in my Zoom because there won't be anybody there. All right. Okie doke. If you think good design is expensive, you should look at the cost of bad design. That's a really big statement. And I love that it comes from the CEO of Jaguar and Land Rover. Because when a client complains about maybe your pricing, you could boldly say, bad design is costing you revenue right now. You're losing money, just like I showed you just a while ago, right? With that wholesale payroll client, he's not getting leads like he needs. Bad design is costing him money. It's costing him revenue. My creative in design, even though it's costing him an investment up front, it will guarantee it will start bringing in revenue, additional revenue. So that's why I like this statement a lot, because it's kind of open, you can really sort of hang your hat on it a little bit, and also sort of explain why your cost may be the way it is, because you can always turn around and go, well, I bet you're losing revenue right now off your ugly website. Right? Nobody can use your website. Show me the stats, show me the SEO. How long are people staying on your website? Are you generating leads? Is anybody contacting you? Well, I'm sure they're not, because they can't use it. They can't even pull it up on their phone. So it's costing you money. So remember this one. It's a good quote. All right, so let's get into wireframes. You thought this class was just about websites, everybody. Definitely not just about websites. So, all right, what are wireframes? We've actually already touched on this a little bit, and I'm going to show you the screen that I previously shared. Basically, wireframes or wires are a simplified layout that outline the structure and functionality of a website or other products. Wireframes can be built in various levels of fidelity. We cover that. Sketches, which are kind of low fidelity, medium fidelity, and then high fidelity. So from sketches to detailed schematics. Wireframes help designers and stakeholders visualize the basic layout, and flow before diving into detailed design. So there may be people in this class that end up not being a visual designer. You may be like some of my other past students. You actually might fall in love with UX so much from some of these classes that you might go, you know what? I really prefer this part of the process. And guess what? There's a lot of jobs out there. I don't know if I shared that with you. There is a huge demand for good UX strategists and creatives. Big, big demand. And they pay well. Really good. So there may be a pivotal point, and I have seen that with students. This might be kind of weird to hear, but this is the truth. You might get to a pivotal point in your studies or your early career that you go, maybe I'm not really that good of a visual designer. Maybe I actually really like this part of the process, because then I'm not executing at that level that maybe I'm just not that successful in. That's okay. All right. I actually had one of my best friends that worked with me for 16 years. The first 5 years, 6 years, he was a visual designer. And he kind of got to a place where he's like, you know what? I have to be real with where I want to go in my career. And he changed after like about 5 years of working with me back in Digitaria days. And he goes, you know what? I prefer UX. I like the process. I like the way I can execute on it. I'm actually better at it. I'm better at this than visual design. And he pivoted his entire career from going being a visual designer to a UX designer. And now he has been very successful in his career. So just kind of opening up thoughts and conversations. All right. You already saw this screen. This is the one I shared with you a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Wireframes, low fidelity blueprint, kind of blueprint, right, of a website's layout, serving as a visual guide for structure, content placement, and functionality. Its primary purpose is to establish a clear plan for moving into design and development. I also mentioned that sometimes there might be cases where you don't necessarily need a wireframe, but you could put together a content strategy in a content document that just outlines what the content is and the hierarchy of the content on the page. And the benefit of that is it can allow the visual designer to have more creative freedom of the layout if you have a good visual designer that can benefit from that. Okay? Low fidelity to high fidelity. It's a great example. It's a perfect example right here. Low fidelity, basically sketches, right? I want to see sketches from everybody. I want to see all three of these. That's the assignment, We're going to look at low fidelity. I want to see some quick sketches, some different ideas in your sketch, just like a logo. You guys are taking logo classes. Do you just jump right into Illustrator and start designing a logo? No. You do sketches. It's no different. So then take those sketches and start putting it in a real simple, no actual copy, boxes. Just boxes. That's all they are. They're just boxes. That's kind of a medium fidelity. And then finally, a high fidelity is something that is a bit more fleshed out, where you're going to actually start putting realistic copy in with indicators of buttons, imagery, interaction elements, design, not design elements, but interaction elements. Like this one. We went from sketching out a carousel, an image carousel, to showing what it kind of looks like in a high fidelity wireframe. We're indicating that that's an image, and it has what we call pagination, these little dots to show that there's multiple images you can scroll through, like Instagram and all that other stuff that you guys are familiar with. So the high fidelity wireframe is there to start finalizing the style of text, the amount of text, interaction elements, and various content. So, why wireframes? Helps us focus on structure, layout, and functionality. We mentioned saves time and encourages iterations. Helps with buy-in and encourages collaboration. Helps us determine and organize website content. Wireframes? No. Well, I guess that's up for debate. I'm sure my buddy that became a UX designer thinks wireframes are beautiful. I think that architectural blueprints are beautiful. I think there's an absolute beauty in them. So this is kind of subjective, and Bradford put this in here, but I think wireframes can be beautiful. What to include? Basic page structure and layout with multiple breakpoints. So you are going to be doing mobile and pretty much a kind of a laptop. Remember, I showed you last class, you can do maybe just sort of the basic laptop screen size, and a mobile. Always start with mobile. Mobile first, mobile first, mobile first, mobile first. So you're going to include navigation and menus, headings and body text, call to actions, placeholder images or media. Like I mentioned before, you need to clarify if it's an image, a static image, or if it's video. Forms, cards, modals, and any other important UI elements. Now, there's a term that we didn't include in here that is a common term. It's called components. So if I go back, let me see here. So this is a good example. You see this wireframe over on the right. And also, let me pull this up. So Premiere, you know the Premiere website that I did? So most digital agencies, when they're building and developing and creating the wireframes, we talk about components. Anybody have an idea what that means, what a component means? Come on. Come on.
A button?
Kind of.
It's
Anybody else?
like a module that you can create. You create like a base component and then make multiple of those so that they have all the same look or shape or color or whatever.
Yes, functionality. And I'm going to reuse that term that I had in my deck, scalability. Okay. So to be efficient, again, right? We need to make money. To be efficient, a good designer and a good team, I'll say a good team, thinks about how to solve for components that can be reused and scale and have consistency, because these components can create consistency through interaction, right? So consistent interaction, things like that. So this right here you're looking at are multiple components. This is a, right? This is a component. It is a kind of like boat category feature component. It has Sam. I want you to look at this component and try to tell me, sort of describe what is in this component.
The one to the right.
Either one, because they're exactly the same.
So it's a photo, a description, and a link in each one, right?
Little more.
And a title, a name of the item.
Good. Yes. Yes. And then guess what else it has? Rollover.
Mm.
Very good, Sam. So this boat category feature component has several things happening, like you said. It has a image that needs to be responsive. It has a series descriptor, 1. It has the specific boat header, 2. It has a brief description, 3. There is a maximum capacity, 4. These are just text. That's just text, right? And then finally a button, 5. So it has about 6 real line items. And so if we were to describe this component, you would say photo, then series, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 kind of items that are actually considered in this component that then can be reused. And as you can see here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7. We're reusing this component 7 times on the home page. And then what we did was we added some additional functionality to this component. On desktop, mouse only, because this is not a mobile interaction, you have a rollover. There are no rollovers in mobile. Okay? You can't have rollover interaction. So it has a desktop interaction, rollover, rollout, that needs to be spelled out. It also has one more thing. It has a slight bottom gradient over the image. You see these? You see the gradient image? The gradient that's applied. So that gradient is applied to the image that increases readability. All of those things are considered in one component that now I can reuse throughout the site in different areas. So all of those things are important to consider in your wireframing. So when you're sketching things out and you're solving for consistency and scalability and usability, components are a very important thing to consider. Yeah, kind of dug deep into that one. But like this is a component right here. This whole thing right here, this entire blue area right here, this is an entire section component. Here's another. This component is the same as this component. It's just we tweaked it a little bit and we used the different button style. But it's basically the same component. That's got a static image. This has a video, but it's the same component. Just a little more information and slightly different. So, cool. Yeah, that's a big one. Questions before I move on? Components. Solve for components. All right. What to include here? You know what? I'm going to update this one so it's in here. What to include? Let's add that because we really chewed on that one for a while. Solve for components. I didn't spell that right either. I know components. There you go. Carl, yes.
Yeah, so if you have a wireframe, like a low fidelity sketch that's a box and some lines, how would you indicate what the component is?
So this entire, like this area that you're looking at on this thing could be a component. So you could, like on that Premier Marine, how that section, that sort of section could be an entire component. Well, this could be one of those section components where you have a headline, header 1, a subheader, you have a carousel, and then you have a button. That can be your component right there. Okay. Now you could tweak it.
Sorry. But so my question was more like, is there a way, would you just put like an arrow and say, this is my component right here? Or like to indicate it on this?
Yeah. So usually we're actually not showing kind of a real life presentation, but yeah, you could spell it out. And a lot of times, like what we would do, especially at Miram and when we got into these really deep, high fidelity wireframes, And at Folklore, we would call out these components and have descriptions next to them. So you would have what we call a component library.
Hmm.
And in those component libraries, you have the descriptions of the components. That's how detailed you end up getting into these builds. So for this pontoons, we created a very extensive component library that we could just then continue to pull from and reuse. And it helped us to be scalable and efficient and have consistency in interaction. And also it helps with page load. That's another advantage. So when your site has these components and they're developing them, right? And you've already loaded a stylic component and now you reuse that component, then it helps with page load because it's already sort of stored that information. So many advantages for solving for components. So, don't include. Yeah. Colors are styling detail. Real images are media. Specific fonts or typography choices. No, don't worry about it. Don't do that. Just use Comic Sans. Just kidding. Don't use Comic Sans. Use some Arial, like Arial Helvetica, just something that's very generic and readable. That's it. That's it. Branding elements like logos, finalized copy, or content. Well, sometimes, I mean, it's okay to maybe put the client's logo in there up at the top. You're not breaking rules with something like that. So, low fidelity sketches, you've seen this. So we already talked about it. This isn't really, I'm actually going to take this one out because it contradicts what we already talked about, because that contradicts this, because this is truly what I want and what we do. Low fidelity are sketches, then the gray boxes, and then this. Oh, one thing I was surprised nobody asked about. How come the high fidelity has color in it? Anybody? Even though it says don't, right? Don't use color. But wait a minute. Wait, Paul. Why is there color? Maya?
Well, I feel like that looks like it's for Instagram maybe, or like an app. So like you kind of just know like the general colors of the buttons already to help like visualize it.
Almost. Anybody else? Melinda?
Is it maybe just because it shows it more realistically, like what cell phone color contrasts? Because aren't the buttons usually blue and stuff? I don't
No, not really, but that's a good, it's a good guess. Anybody else? Come on.
Is it because they're interactive?
Way to go, Joseph. Good job. I don't think I've ever seen your face, but that was a good one.
Thank you.
Yes, exactly. So in these high fidelity wireframes, you can introduce a color, real basic color, right? Doesn't have to be the brand color. It's just real generic. It's just cyan or whatever. And it's just the color that represents the interactive elements on the high fidelity wireframes. Excellent, Joseph. Now, okay, Joseph, I'm going to really put you on the spot. You ready?
Yep.
Why is the sign up solid blue in the login outline?
Be, I don't know. I think because you want the user to click on the sign up first.
Bingo! Dang, man. Good. Way to go.
Sweet. Thank you.
Yeah. You know, hey, I'm gonna sort of really sort of put you. It's kind of like when you start thinking like sort of the common sense of usability,
Mm-hmm.
then it starts, right? You're like, oh my God, my mind just opened up, right? You're
Yeah,
like,
because
what
my
the
my
heck?
eyes kind of go there first.
Right, exactly. So you're 100% right. What they're indicating is the primary action is the sign up. That is the primary action on the page. And the secondary action is to log in. So you got 2 for 2 there. Way to go, Justin.
Sweet, thank you.
All right. So I wanted to touch on that because I know that might have seemed a little contradictory that I was showing the wireframe that says, that has color in it. And then it says, don't use color. So need to explain that. All right. So now we went from low fidelity sketches to, high fidelity or like medium fidelity sketches, and kind of in between medium and high fidelity over here on the left, to actual designs over here on the right. So this is just an example that Bradford had provided. So it's kind of showing the evolution of what the wireframe is and then into the actual interaction or the visual design. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, Maya.
On the page where you said what to include in wireframes, yeah, can you go back to that so you can, what
Mhm.
when you mean like multiple to include multiple breakpoints, does that just mean like white space and things like that just to like separate information, or what does that mean?
That touches on the responsiveness, from the last class. So when we're outlining mobile, remember how we showed the exercise of the breakpoints of things kind of resizing and also reorganizing like that. Remember that
Yeah.
last week? Were you in that class?
Yeah, sorry, I just maybe
That's
missed that part.
Yeah, no, that's okay. There was a lot. We covered a lot. So that's those breakpoints. Whenever we were kind of fleshing out those ideas of the breakpoints. So it's like for this, let's go up to here, and the breakpoints of this is laptop desktop view, right? That's what, if you were to wireframe this out, you would wireframe all of this out and it would have this just as a wireframe. Then, as it comes down, one of the breakpoints could be right there.
I like the navigation.
Right, yep, right there. So that's about what, like a small tablet, I would say, breakpoint. And then the very last one, which is not that much different than the small, see?
Yeah.
There's really not a big difference between, there's not truly multiple breakpoints in this one, but we did go through quite a few that we show that some sites out there can have multiple breakpoints, where that one site we were looking at, the main nav was the first thing that ended up condensing to the little hamburger nav. And then it was the secondary nav was the next breakpoint of that one site that then condensed. And then sort of the final breakpoint of mobile was things started stacking and really kind of condensing down. So what I'm requiring in our class when you're doing your wireframes is only 2. You're just going to solve for mobile first, and then like laptop/desktop.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. So it's not necessary. I'm not requiring you to do like an in-between one for like a tablet. Don't worry about that. It's most important to start with mobile and then go up to like your laptop/desktop. Make sense? Whoa, what happened? Hello? What's going on? Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
I can.
Sorry, my whole thing is, I got the spinning beach ball.
Your
Right.
video is just like glitching.
Yeah, give it a second. It needs to catch up. Hold on. Yeah, something's, hold on here. What's going on? All right, give me 1 second. There's just some kind of hiccup I'm having. Okay, there you go. Can everybody see me now? Yeah, okay. Just
Yep.
a little hiccup. All right, so does that Maya, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Of course, absolutely. Okay. Wireframes. It's a big one. So, questions. All right. Assignment. So your current assignment that we're going to spend time doing breakout sessions here after the break is we're going to go through your work in progress of your personas today because they're due on Wednesday. And Bradford will be there, to follow up on that. So the assignment was to create at least 4 personas, and they need to include detailed profile information regarding key segments of the target audience that you had already defined in your questionnaire. And these personas need to include profile, needs, behaviors, goals, pain points, motivations, or any additional information that you feel is relevant. I provided multiple examples to be inspired by, everything from the Mazda USA to the Mall of America category persona that you could also do, I mentioned. I gave you options of doing these individual personas, or if you wanted to tackle a category persona. I had detailed that last week, that you have the option of being able to do either one. I also provided student examples. We talked about these. So that's kind of where we're at. Shaver, yes.
Is this like going back to what you showed us in the beginning of class? Like, could this be a good opportunity to, like, if we have the basic profile of the consumers, or to like put their basic profile in ChatGPT or Midjourney and just kind of use the picture that they give us instead of like going onto like iStock or finding some like cheesy photo?
Absolutely. 100%. Do it. ChatGPT is a great resource. Here's also another way of using Midjourney to write the prompts for you. Watch this. I don't know if I shared this with you. Get your Midjourney account open this up, go to edit. Here you go. So let's say you have we're going to reuse this lady. Or this. No, because that one's already. Let's say we're going to use it. This is a real photograph. So let's say, right, I want a similar image, free version yet. I don't know, Carl. Probably not. So let's say I really like this image, and this person kind of represents one of my personas. Okay? We'll just say that. I upload it. All right. So now look at this. See this little thing over here, suggest prompt? click suggesting prompt. You can also do that in ChatGPT. So you can go here, ChatGPT. You can upload. Let's upload the same image. Go here and then say, what's my, they call it suggest prompt. Here you go. Suggest prompt for mid journey. Here it goes. It's getting into it. So this is how you can use both platforms, both tools. Okay. So this was real easy. Just uploaded the image. I asked Midjourney to suggest a prompt. And this is the prompt. Close-up portrait of a black woman with a pink eyeshadow, large gold earrings, and a bright smile against a dark gray background. Editorial photography in the style of Peter Lindbergh. Wow. Let's see what ChatGPT did. Ooh, way more detailed prompt. A striking portrait of a dark-skinned woman with radiant, smooth skin, smiling warmly. Her eyes are closed, adorned with bold, textured pink eyeshadows, creating a contrast against her rich complexion. She wears elegant gold hoop earrings. The lighting is soft and dramatic, emphasizing facial contours and textures. The background is muted, neutral tone, enhancing. Wow, that's a very, very detailed prompt. I'm going to copy that prompt. Now, watch what I can do. Now I'm going to go over to create. Okay? I'm not going to use the Midjourney. I'm going to do this. I'm going to upload that reference image. It's a reference. Now I'm going to click on it to use it. So now it's in my prompt area. Now I'm going to paste the ChatGPT prompt. Now, let's see what we got. I could have tweaked that if I wanted to. So don't forget that. Like, just because that prompt was there, I might want to kind of tweak it because I do want a better variation. What's that? There you go. So pretty darn good. What's that? Microsoft has one too. Yeah, I mean, Dylan, just my experience, I have not found so far any AI image creators better than Midjourney. I mean, I'm open to suggestions.
It's just free.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
it.
There you go. It's free.
It's free and it's not too bad. You have like I think 60 things you could use on it per month and it resets. So not too
Excellent.
bad. Yeah.
So I'm going to show you another variation here. So I'm going to use the same prompt, right? Use the same reference image. But now I kind of like this one that it gave me. So I'm actually going to, whoops. Now I messed that one up. Hold on. There you go. Let me go in here. There you go. So I'm going to use the same prompt, but I'm also going to reference the two images. I'm going to reference the AI image and also the real image. But now you can come in here and kind of tweak it a little bit. So let's do a half. Let me see. Half torso. I do hyper realistic. Whoops. Fashion photograph of a dark-skinned woman with a radiant, smooth style. And then I'm even going to tweak it a little bit. Watch this. I'm going to say she has lots of freckles on her face. Give it a little extra personality. So to go back to now, I forgot who actually brought this up. If to be able to use AI to help with the copy and also create the imagery, absolutely. Utilize the technology. Oh, darn, it didn't really weird. I don't know what that didn't really give me the freckles, but I could keep tweaking it. You know, literally, I could probably just use the prompt and not use any reference imagery and see what it gives me. So just explore the technology, and utilize it to be able to like get a bit more, creative. Oh, Shaver, that was you, wasn't it? Yeah. So yeah, look at these. I mean, these are great. Look, there you go. I got my freckles. Actually, I like this image way better than the one that had the reference because one, to me, it looks more realistic. It's pretty darn phenomenal. Look at her skin tone and the detail in her skin. I got freckles on her cheeks. This is great too. So, yeah, I recommend you just get in and explore it. Melinda.
Um, do our images have to be like this nice or
Why
uh
wouldn't it be?
uh like how else could you create this without I guess like you just have to find a free plugin or something? Because like I like had this plugin and I was like starting to work at it and then I like went to go back into it and then it was just like, oh, your trial ended and it like wanted money. I'm like, oh, so
Or
I
just
lost.
use some of these free stock sites like Unsplash. I mean, honestly, like you could come in here and say middle-aged man with short brown hair and a smile. I don't know. Wasn't expecting that,
Looks
but
like the
why
date
not?
looks like the dating apps these days.
It does. I mean, wow. I mean, I don't know if you want to go on a date with that guy or not. He could use some dental work. That's all I can say. But at least I know. Can you use Adobe Firefly instead of Midjourney? Possibly, yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, but I just wanted, again, I'm always about providing solutions, Melinda. I want to be able to try to provide you as many solutions as possible. So, Unsplash, I've used Unsplash many, many times for references. And, you know, it's it's free to download. You can just download it for free and just use it, as placeholder imagery. Okay. And I mean, it's not high res, but it's high enough res for you. Too funny, man. I get a kick out of that stuff all the time. So, all right. Yes, please.
And as
Question.
far for the like descriptions of the people, like is there any way to like cut out some of that work or
Well, I mean, you could use ChatGPT to help you write that stuff. So let's say, so watch this. Um, Help me write a user persona. Whoops. For Mazda USA website that includes a person from 24 to 45 years old that lives in San Diego and makes $45,000 a year and goes to school at San Diego City College. Okay? Help me write and use a persona for Mazda USA website that includes, whoops, misspell goes to school, includes a persona, includes a help me write a persona for Mazda USA website that includes a person from 24 to 45 years old that lives in San Diego and makes 45,000 a year and goes to school. So you can use the technology to help you write that stuff. Let's see. User persona. Alex Ramirez, 28 years old, location San Diego City. Education, student at San Diego City College. Occupation, part-time barista, aspiring graphic designer. Income, 45,000. Lifestyle, interest, passionate about design, technology, sustainable, blah, blah, blah. Needs and pain points. Model of interest, digital behavior. Would you like for me to refine any details or add depth? Include digital footprint and social behaviors. Aspiring graphic designer, right? Let's see what response. Weird. What happened?
I asked ChatGPT to do similar to what you're doing, Paul, and randomly the lowest income person was the struggling graphic designer. So
Weird.
it was weird. I didn't give any prompt about graphic design at all. It was so
Yeah,
strange.
but look at this. It actually just had a glitch. See the glitch? Which response may take, I don't know, it's having a hard time loading it. But you see, Melinda, I'm using the tool to help. Now, here's the thing. Just gonna be honest. No way I'm gonna be able to know. There you go, finally. It's having a hard time with this one. You use the tool at your own discretion. I would hope and request that you don't just copy and paste everything that you get out of AI, because then you're actually not doing the work yourself. Like you need to use it as a tool to help you create a foundation and to build off of. I am not recommending anybody to just let AI do all your damn homework for you, because guess what? If you do, you're only shooting yourself in the foot. You're only hurting yourself. If you're letting AI do all the work for you, wow, yeah, look, it's really kind of, there you go. It's kind of fleshing it out a little bit more. Digital footprint and social behaviors. Active on LinkedIn, blah, 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 shopping and brand engagement. I mean, that's a really good response. So, all I'm saying is use the tool at your own discretion. Don't just copy and paste stuff and be lazy, because you're never going to be a better creative if that's all you're doing. Okay, that's all I can say. I use AI to help me with concepts. I use AI to help me sort of like enhance my creative process, especially ChatGPT. So if I'm concepting, let's say for, this wholesale payroll, a lot of times I'll sort of write a draft of an idea and then feed that draft into ChatGPT to help me kind of like with grammar and spelling, and also maybe to kind of give some thought starters around it. But I'll use it to sort of enhance my creative process. I don't just copy and paste the stuff that it gives. I mean, it does a great job, but you're never going to be a better creative if you're just copying and pasting. So just being real with you. Cool. Melinda, did that help you a little bit?
Yes, just curious. Like, how long does it take to make one persona for like a realistic person? I know I'm really slow, but
No, you're not slow at all. No, you're not. Um, well, I mean, it's, I would say on average a few hours to really kind of flesh it out and to think about like you're looking at your creative questionnaire, you're comparing it with your competitors, you're doing your own like research, you're kind of you're problem solving too, and then maybe you're taking all that draft, all those ingredients, right? Kind of taking all those ingredients, and then you might, put all those ingredients into Chat GPT to help you kind of reorganize it a little bit, and then to be able to help you with the persona. But I mean, what I did here is a great way to, I mean, because this isn't all real information, it's just hypothetical, right? So it's just hypothetical. I can just build off of this. But what you're creating is also like, I mean, it can be somewhat hypothetical, but my suggestion is your personas should be as real as possible. Like they should be as relevant and real to your client and their target audience. So, no, you're not using a real person's name. You're not using the real person's, right, age, but you're going to go, Alex Ramirez, 28, that lives in San Diego, is a student at City and is an Uber driver. And let's say your client is an attorney, a injury attorney. And so your persona is a 28-year-old Uber driver that goes to City College studying graphic design, and now they got into an accident. So they are a persona, and they need the services of your injury attorney. So that is a persona for you, a very relevant, realistic persona for your client. You see how that, like, I'm solving for, let's say, what your client would be, because I know we got several attorney websites here, so I don't know if that was one of yours or not. Does that make sense? Good. Good. Cool. Yeah, so looking at it right here, Dolly. Oh shoot, they got Sora now. No, I don't think it's. Does anybody? So Sora is the video. I don't know if it's. Let's see here. The Yeah, see. Let's see. ChatGPT Subscribe Plus includes the ability, blah, blah, blah. You can get the Pro. Wow, 200 a month for. So Sora is the AI video one. So Pablo creates. Ooh, I've been waiting for this. Look at this. So let's do this. Sorry, just let me. Wait a minute. Can't find my, here, let's just copy this. I've been waiting for Sora. I don't even know where it's at now. But anyways, explore it on your own time. I won't waste your time trying to explore that. But I do recommend, if you can afford Midjourney. I don't know what account I have. It is, I mean, it's phenomenal. Here's my zenned out people. Here's a lady with no legs. Too funny. But hey, it was worth every penny. I sold a project today. Oh, pretty cool. Alrighty. Where does this all videos uploads? Where does it go to? Oh, I think it's still processing. Yeah, there you go. Drawer, still processing. Well, hopefully it'll be done by the time we get back from class. Okay. It's 2:32. We're going to take a 15-minute break. Let's just say we're going to be back at let's just be back at 2:50. Okay. Yes, 2:50. Enjoy your break, and we'll be back to talk about the assignment. All right, talk later. Okay. Give it a minute or two for people to get back. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what Sora did. Oh no. What happened there? Oh, let's see. Wow. Whoa. Whoa. Look at that. That's wild. Isn't that? I don't know about you. That's insane. I can't even tell that's AI. Look at that. That's wild, man. You know, we live in a fascinating world. I find this stuff fascinating. I just think that that's insane. I mean, I knew Sora. I've been watching it for some time, and it it's hey, look at this. Look at the cat meeting. Wow, man. Look at this. Yeah, it's just it's highly encourage. Use the technology. Wow. Look at that. It's just endless. Oh, I'm hooked. I'm just hooked. This stuff is just absolutely amazing. This is, yeah. I mean, huh. Okay. So pretty freaking cool. Let me save it in my bookmark here. Sora for Sora. Come on. Had a lot of stuff in there. Okay. Mind blown. Um, mind blown with these guys. Okay, so let's hop into the rest of our discussion. Oh, I wanted to share this called Design Stories. Um, I know that I can be a little bit of a creative historian at times, because I think there's a lot that we can learn from our past. and think about how it influences our current and our future. So this is pretty cool. This is from Ready Mag, and they did this this little microsite called Design Stories. And these are, these are very influential designers, everything from Immigrant to Lingray to like just a variety of well-known designers, everything from graphic design to product design to all kinds of different styles of design. And so one of my favorite is Reed Miles. I'm not sure if we touched on Reed Miles in Blue Note. If you like jazz, classic jazz, Blue Note is been around since 50s, and a lot of the classics are under the Blue Note label. Miles Davis, John Coltrane, Art Blakey, Thelonious Monk. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. But what makes this story so special is that Reed Miles joined up with Blue Note in the 60s. Through 12 glorious years, American designer Reed Miles created over 500 LP covers for the jazz label Blue Note Records. Some of the covers represent the absolute gold standard of modernist typography and are widely recognized as the best designed record sleeves in the history of jazz. Actually, I will say the history of music. That's bold, I know, but I say it is 100%. I'll hang my hat on that in a heartbeat. And why I like to share this is because next week we're going to talk about typography, web type. And these are really beautiful little micro like articles here. I love the design of these. So here's Reed Miles. An interesting fact about Reed Miles is he really didn't like jazz, which is great because he was able to come in with a fresh perspective. And I think that's key. You may encounter in your career that will happen. I have had several golf clients, from Adidas Golf to TaylorMade to Callaway to Cobra to Scotty Cameron, just a wide variety of them. And it has spanned across my career for, 18 years. And I finally started playing golf about a year and a half ago. And I think it's more of just because I have a golf course in my neighborhood. And I was like, why not? Give it a try. So now I actually play golf. But it's really good to have a fresh perspective. He was born 1927, enrolls in 1940, Art Institute in LA. 1950, moves to New York. 1955, starts work at Esquire magazine. 1956, hired at Blue Note. And one of the partnerships that he created was with Alfred Lyon and photographer Francis Wolff. And that's important because of their partnership. And the partnership of, the owner and then that famous photographer, well, he's very famous for Blue Note, for Francis Wolff. They created a collaboration that was very intentional. And I use the word intention because they had to solve a very significant issue with their label and the music and selling records. And the issue was, you're looking at 1950s and 60s where there was a perception of the type of artists that would only play, and then the type of artists that people would only buy albums for. And one of the things that they had to solve for was the racial tension in the 50s and 60s. So it's interesting. Graphic design can solve big problems. Good design can break down boundaries. Good design can change perception. So what Alfred Lyon, Francis Wolff, and Reed Miles set out to do was to embark on this design journey that would help these artists sell their records. But what they had to do first was they had to lead they had to lead in a different way. And what they ended up leading with was typography. They led with typography, literally. Like, so what they started doing was, you look at, I'm going to scroll down here to some of, like, this is a really great example too, with Milt Jackson, Thelonious Monk Quintet, was they had these big headlines, and then they stylized the photography to make it feel a bit more artistic and, like, you know, modernistic back in the day. And then, like, this is a great example of what they had to do. So they led with typography. So they were getting these album designs with typography that they felt was representing the style of music first, the bebop jazz, that bebop that had this, like, rhythm and this attitude. And what Reed Miles was trying to do was he was trying to interpret the music through typography, which was brilliant. But then what he was doing was he was trying to minimize the profile of the artist and focusing and highlighting and elevating the sense of the music. So through typography and through clever design, they became some of the most iconic music album covers ever. I have vintage ones. You know, I got some from the 60s that Reed Miles had designed that I like to collect. And they're a testament of time and design and the importance of good design. So as we get into, he was not a fan of he wasn't a fan of jazz. But you look at, like, these guys right here, same thing, right? You know, he led with this very kind of playful typography, but this white space, this open space that allowed, like, the name of the album to stand out and to have sort of this sensibility. But then the profile of the artist was kind of, like, played on, and there was this sort of, like, interesting artistic way of framing the artist that became a part of the flow of the design. I love, this is one of my favorite, of a new perspective of Donald Byrd, of how they took this incredible photo of this vintage, like, Jaguar, but they emphasized, right, like, this oval shape of it, and the artist was sort of in the back seat a little bit. So same thing here with Blakey, super cool, you know, how he did this. How they took the photographs, they stylized them in a duotone way, and really emphasized the typography. Here, kind of pushing the photo back and making it a dark duotone and letting the typography really pop and stand out. Oh, hi there, baby. My new dog is running around right now. We just adopted a new dog. So this is really cool. This Jackie McLean, like, this is a great example. This is a great example of how taking the photo and making it a part of the expression of the design and kind of de-emphasizing it, but not really. It's really sort of like, it's plain. It's sort of like it's being exaggerating. It's representing the music. So I just wanted to show this because here's the one I got. I love this. Is one of my favorite covers of all time, The Rump Roller by Lee Morgan. Like, look at the way that he distorted the typography, and he did this in 1965. This was all hand drawn. That's incredible. Beautiful. some of the best typography ever of all of music. Melinda, yes.
So, okay, this whole rule of like warping text and stuff, like when is it like applicable and not? Because I've always thought like that kind of stuff is cool, but then it's like, I mean, I don't know. I like, you know what I mean?
Yes, I
Like,
absolutely know what you mean. You know, I'm not going to answer that. Hey, somebody else. Christine, I like the globe behind you. You look like you're in space. Christine, you have any thoughts around that great question?
It is Kristen, by the way.
Oh,
But
Kristen, I'm sorry, Kristen. I'm
no,
still
that's totally
remembering it.
fine.
Thank you.
Um,
Appreciate it,
I
Kristen.
mean, I feel like warping text, you can do it whenever and however you feel makes it like suitable for the design, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
correct.
yeah, if sometimes it's not super readable, but if that's what you're going for, then that's cool. But yeah, I don't know. I think it's a cool thing to add to anything.
Okay. Sam, elaborate, please.
To like create a feeling or an effect, like to like enhance the message you're trying to put across.
Yes. Yeah. Emily, expand on your thoughts, please.
I feel like it was either Bradford or Sean that says like once you can like you know all the rules of typography and graphic design, like you can start breaking the rules and you know having fun with it while still being art.
So I would challenge Mr. Bradford and Mr. Sean around that because David Carson didn't go to school for any design. He, and I'm just using this as because they are right. I'm not saying they're wrong, but I'm saying there's also exceptions to that rule. There's always an exception to the rule, right? Always. David Carson didn't go to school for any design. He had no previous education of design at all. He kind of just started getting into it. And he has become one of the most famous graphic designers of all of graphic design history. And he approached it from a feeling. He approached it from an expression that was a bit more artistic in nature. And Emily, like back in the day, he broke all the rules because he said, he basically, pardon my French, he goes, fuck the rules. I don't care about the rules. I'm going to do what feels right for the design. And that's how he approached design. And he's still thriving. He's still working and he's done some of the most famous designs ever, all the ray gun magazines and all that crazy stuff. So yeah, you're right. Everybody's right. Let me see who has been quiet today. Losip,
Yes.
are you there?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the question?
I think it depends on the situation. Like
Yeah.
what you wanna achieve. Like what's the goal? If it's more
Mhm.
visual, if you need a movement in your design, I think there's a there are many options to like utilize this style.
Yes.
But if you want to look like strict, modern,
Mhm.
and more like how to say, like if company hired you for a promotion,
Mhm.
this style would not be like the best one to use.
I think that's a very great analytical way of looking at it. You're 100% right. So you're all right. It really just comes down to what you're trying to accomplish. You look at why Reed Miles did this. Well, first of all, I would say pull up the album and listen to it. He was probably very inspired by the album and the artist. hope maybe he met the artist, maybe he didn't. There's a good chance he did. He might have, he might not have, right? But I'm sure that he pulled a lot of inspiration from the feeling of the music in the album. And they had a certain objective. Maybe this might have been the first album for Lee Morgan, the artist, and they needed to kind of make a splash and get him noticed. And so, they decided to approach the typography in this very kind of organic, distorted way to make an impact. Okay, great. Awesome conversation. Because again, we're going to get into typography next week. And you may ask yourself, like the talking heads, sorry, but you may ask yourself, is something like this appropriate? Well, I would doubt this style is appropriate for an attorney's website. I would have to question your motives. If you're like, Paul, I was thinking of this distorted type in this David Carson style of, kind of like this collage stuff, and I'm going to apply it to the injury attorney website. I'll be like, I'm not sure about that. All right. That doesn't seem appropriate for the audience in the brand. So, but there could be a use for it in some cases. So, yeah, look at this. Oh, I just love this. I love no photo at all. Thelonious Monk with Sonny Robbins and Frank Foster. And just look at that typography, just the way that he created visual tension. Look at the visual tension between the letter forms where they're not quite touching. There's this visual tension of them barely whispering next to each other. It's almost like the letter forms are just kind of like barely whispering and kissing. And there's this beautiful tension. Oh, man. Fucking love that stuff, man. I love it. I love it. Look at Andy Warhol. He hired Andy Warhol to illustrate this one for Kenny Burrell. How bitchin' is that? He actually he partnered up with Andy Warhol quite a few times. And Andy Warhol did a variety of covers. How cool is that? And there he is right there. He's a very shy guy. He was very, very shy. So, cool. So that's appropriate. Now we're going to get into next Wednesday. Bradford's going to do a lecture on hero sections. The assignment personas are due, and you're going to start wireframes and user flows. But next week, you're going to get into typography. So we're going to pause and back up because now we're going to do breakout sessions for your user personas. So everybody, whoever has their camera off, everybody needs to participate. And I'm just going to kind of encourage this again because last class, whenever we were doing breakout sessions, I understand that not everybody can turn on their camera, but it is highly encouraged, especially in the breakout sessions, please, because I feel like, you're really missing out kind of having your camera on and engaging with your fellow students. So please, if you can truly turn on your camera, do it to be able to properly collaborate. Okie doke. So on that, I need to stop sharing and get ready. We start doing. Oh, hold on just a second. I'm not going to make this mistake again. Sharing. There you go. I selected it before breakout session. Come on, everybody. You guys got to help me remember stuff like this, all right? Okay, so you should be able to share your screen now instantly. All right, let's do breakout sessions. This 316. Let's do 20 minutes. 20 minutes, what is that? That's like 3 That like 340? No?
Well,
Yeah.
it's 336.
That's 330. Okay, so let's do 340. Let's
Okay.
go until 340, okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do breakout sessions. Ready? Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's see. We're going to do 5 again. We're going to assign automatically. You'll be able to share your screen. Again, if you can, turn on your camera so everybody gets to see each other and collaborate. And ready? 1, 2, 3. There you go. All right, I'm going to jump into one of these guys here.
Okay.
Hello. Starting off with,
Yeah. Can everybody see my screen?
I can. Ooh, look at this. Look what you got going on, Ezekiel.
So
Fine.
I'm rebranding Kobe Swap Meet and
Oh, that's right. Oh,
yeah,
sorry, Shaver. It's you. Sorry.
yeah, or not rebranding, but I forget. And
Yes.
I wanted to get the Kobe Swap Meet more geared towards like millennials and Gen Z.
Good.
And so I kind of created these four like 3 people that would go and shop there, and then one person who might need the lot space.
Yeah.
So we have Emily, who's a 23-year-old grad student, and she needs to furnish an apartment on a student budget. Um, Ken's a 34-year-old tattoo artist. He needs inspiration to move the needle forward. This was actually inspired by a documentary I saw of a guy who was this tattoo artist, and he'd had like this kind of like not addiction, but he was always going around to different weird places and buying weird junk because he was an artist, and all these weird things he would buy would kind of stimulate his creativity.
Yeah.
And then Alex is a 28-year-old Finnish carpenter who needs to build a foundation for his personal work. This is like a guy who, I had a buddy who was making, woodworking out of old skateboard decks and
Yeah.
making really cool stuff. And he could, this is a guy like based off of him that could use the space to sell his work on the weekends. And then we have Monica, a 25-year-old hairstylist, mother of 2. She needs something to keep her boys entertained on the weekends while also, buying fun stuff for them on a budget. This is all I have so far. The images were from ChatGPT, which was really cool. Um, their images are a little like, you can tell they're not real pictures, but I mean, I think it gets the point across. So, and then I haven't really gotten into all the nitty-gritty of their behaviors and pain points and motivations and stuff, but
Yeah. Great.
does anybody have any questions?
Yeah, your fellow students going to jump in.
I think it looks really good. Is this the layout you're gonna like stick with, or are you gonna do more?
No, this is super rudimentary. I kind of just like put this together, I guess full transparency, like during this class. I kind of lagged on the assignment a little bit, and then once Paul was talking about certain things, I had some notes written down, and then my juices got flowing. And so I'd kind of like to maybe put some like graph things in, like those examples that we got shown, kind of like maybe where they sit on certain behavioral aspects,
Yep.
like impulsive or really, meticulous kind of stuff like that.
Yep.
Yeah, that makes sense. I actually have a question for you, Professor, too.
Sure.
Do these have to be like a certain size when we're done with them?
Well, I've given you a variety of examples of formats that you could use. So, I mean, I'm leaving it up to you to kind of pick a type of format. So I gave you vertical formats, horizontal formats, really detailed formats. So, I mean, it's kind of up to you, just it needs to at least follow some of the examples that I had provided.
Okay. Thank
Sure.
you for that.
Yeah, absolutely. So Shaver, I think this is a really good start.
Yeah.
Just like you said, you kind of got started today and everything, and you're gonna kind of flesh these out a lot more here for Wednesday. I mean, I'm not gonna say what's obvious. What's obvious is it's lacking detail, of course. But what I do like is I like the variety of your personas. I think that they feel very appropriate for Kobe Swap Meet. Um, I think that, like you said, some of the personas could just be a shopper. Some of them could be a seller, and then some of them could be both, right? They could be a shopper and seller.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that that's very, very key to outline within your personas to make sure that you're covering sort of those bases that, these particular personas are falling in those categories. And then, you're really sort of like fleshing out these behaviors, goals, pain points, and motivations. So, I mean, I think it's a very positive start.
Cool. Thank you.
Are you able to show us the Kobe Swap Meet website real quick too? Just
Oh,
so we
yeah,
can
please
get a little
do.
visual.
Yeah, let me stop sharing. I'll put it in the chat.
That's a cool one to do a little project on. It's super local too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I have some ideas for it that'll be neat. So they yeah, they could probably use a little update in their visuals and
Oh, I'm sure, right?
yeah.
I think I've been there before.
Yeah, my mom used to take me as a kid like all the time. It's fun.
Yeah, you could definitely do a lot with that website for sure.
Yeah. I'm glad that we don't have to change the logos either because it's got like a weirdly like it's so bad I like it. You know what I mean?
It has some nice character to it, a little
Yeah,
personality.
exactly.
Very nice. Yeah, you can do a lot with the imagery that they use too. That's like not cute.
Yeah, one of these maybe next weekend I don't have work. I actually wanted to go and take some photos myself of like people buying and selling and stuff.
Awesome.
Yeah,
That's cool.
we will see.
Nice work.
Thank you.
Who wants to go next?
Yeah, who's going next? Yeah, good old Kobe Swap Meet, man. Wow. Oh, wow. It's so bad it's good, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can somebody else now share, please? Or I'm gonna have to jump. Who's next?
Can go. Let me pull mine up real quick.
Did you guys get that broadcast message I just sent?
Yeah, I saw it.
Did you see? So it did go through?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I think so. Well, I got it.
All right, cool. Okay, so let's what's your property management? Is that the
Yeah, merchant property management.
okay?
This is just like a really basic, I don't want to like do these colors or anything.
Yeah, of
It's
course.
kind of
Yeah.
like a basic start to what I've got going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a property management company. So you have like tenants, like current tenants, future tenants, and property managers, property owners. So I have the first one would be Sarah, 28. She's the busy tenant, which would be a like young professional renter. So yeah, I have this girl, Sarah, who's 28, who's a marketing manager, recently moved to San Diego for a one-bedroom apartment. Yeah, she needs easy access to rent payments, maintenance requests, and lease details. So probably using more like mobile um on the website. Behaviors, yeah, prefers mobile friendly solutions. And then quick responses. Goals would be to have a hassle-free rental experience, live in a well-maintained property, and avoid unnecessary landlord interactions. Pain points would be unresponsive landlords or unclear lease terms, difficulty processing maintenance requests. And then motivations would be just wants a stress-free, convenient renting experience, an easy to use portal,
Great.
likely on like mobile.
Mhm.
And then we have the property investor who would be a multi-property owner. So we have Mark, age 45, owns multiple rental properties in San Diego, a busy entrepreneur who's looking for passive income. He wants reliable property management, consistent rental income, and low tenant turnover. Behaviors would be researches at property management firms, expects detailed financial reports, and values trust and professionalism in who he chooses as a property management firm. Goals would be just to maximize his return on investment, maintain high occupancy rates with minimal property issues, pain points, late tenant rent payments, high vacancy rates, property damage, unreliable management companies helping him out. Motivations. He just seeks a professional team that handles everything smoothly and increases property value over time. And then we've got the first time renter, SDSU college student, Jake, 22, recent college graduate. Well, he's a college student moving into his first rental apartment, needs clear lease terms, an easy application process, and guidance on rental policies. Behaviors, compares rental prices online, values transparency, and often asks questions about responsibilities as a tenant. So needs like good communication with his management company and landlord. His goal would be to secure an affordable and safe place to live with a communicative property manager. Pain points is confusing rental applications, high upfront costs, difficulty understanding lease agreements, motivations, just wants a easy and supportive, stress-free renting experience. And lastly, we have the relocating family, long-term renters. So we have Emily and David with their two kids in their mid-30s relocating to San Diego for a job transfer. They need a family-friendly rental home, responsive maintenance, safe neighborhood, good schools. Behaviors would be they research rental areas extensively, prioritizing home condition,
And they schedule multiple viewings before committing. Goals would be finding a stable long-term rental with excellent property management. Pain points, difficulty securing a rental remotely, and unclear property details online with a slow leasing process. And motivation, wanting a smooth transition with a trustworthy property manager who values family needs. So yeah, I still need to like get the
That's
photo.
really well done.
Thanks.
Good
Yeah.
job.
I want to, get the photos obviously, and then rework the design part of it, but that's kind of just like the basic profiles I have.
Well, I thought you did a great job. I don't really have much. I know that you're gonna refine the look and feel and bring in imagery. So I'll leave it up to the rest of the team here to give you feedback. I'm gonna jump to another breakout room, but great job. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
We're choosing.
Totally
but I
true.
also
That's totally true. I'm getting kind of caught up in the whole like, let's do the whole
I
thing.
know we have to do the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
also like something to keep in mind is that we're looking at your target audience right now, and they don't really have perfect teeth. Otherwise, they wouldn't, necessarily be going to these particular dentists, right?
Yeah.
Well, no, you said it was basic cleaning and stuff, right? Like crowns.
It's like both, because like I mean I got my neighbor to go there and because she had Sjogren's disease and had to get all her teeth removed because they're just gonna rot out of her mouth, and then she was gonna get like permanent upper dentures, and then she just needed to get refitted for lower dentures. So
And
like he just did
they do all those services there.
They did all of it. I don't think there's anything they had to send her out for. Like they'll have to send you out to like get your wisdom teeth pulled. Like so like if you needed wisdom
To
teeth.
an oral surgeon.
Yeah, so they don't do that kind of stuff. But I mean, to me it's like cracking teeth out of someone's mouth. Like
So if you did their homepage and one other page, what would your other page be?
I feel it'd be like their services page.
Before and after.
Oh, well.
That's exactly what we were talking about before you came in, Paul.
Just do testimonials, right? Before and after. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, definitely lost on like the general feel of like how to rebrand them. I think that's why I'm like just like not really producing anything really collected, because it's like
Have you found good inspiration websites?
No.
Like, so you just don't have a vision. You're just sort of stuck of like colors, the whole thing.
Yeah, I really like, and I've been trying really hard to move forward on it, and it's just like, I mean, I can't even like the only color palettes I keep coming up with is like the same stuff I'm seeing across the board for like what I feel is like similar dentists to their dentistry, but it's just like, oh, I'm
So trying to see something that's not traditional, what we always see in dentistry, like how we always see blue and white in medical.
Hey, Melinda, so what if you had, first of all, I think that's why your mood boards are so important. I don't think we went over that like together in our group together. But yeah, that's what the brand mood board was. That's what I used it for, was okay, what do I want the website to look like? But then also, what if you want what if you had just one bright color that was like their color? And then you could just use normal other colors. That way you don't have to have this big hodgepodge of pink and yellow and blue.
Like an accent color. Like maybe they use
an accent
white,
color.
orange, and turquoise.
Yeah, some colors that doesn't make it confusing too.
Say that again. So like black and white and like a signature color. Is that would
something like that? Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
And a lot of companies do that. You look at AT&T, like they pretty much use that blue on their globe. Apple is like white and black or light gray. Like some companies are very simple, and their branding, their what is it called, Paul? Branding guidelines are very, very specific and very distinct, and they do not deviate from them.
Yeah, some
So
brands
if you,
very, very focused on their brand elements. You know, when you think of Tiffany, what pops in your head?
blue,
Tiffany blue. It's actually patented.
Yeah.
yes,
Rolex, green, you know.
and the
So
crown.
yeah. So, you know, you think about like, I mean, a dentist office might not necessarily go that refined, but yeah, mood boards I agree with everything everyone said.
Hmm.
Oh, thank
I
you.
also think if you want to avoid the juvenile thing, like the smiling teeth and the dancing teeth and stuff, that definitely looks to me more like kids dentist
You know,
than
like a family dentistry.
yeah.
It's a very good point. Yeah, because if your target audience is more mature, and you're also, let's say your dentist is really pushing for a higher price point, now you also have to ask yourself, where's the dentist located? If the dentist is located in La Jolla versus, let's say, Golden Hill or, you
Yeah,
know,
East Village.
someplace, then, you know, you're gonna want to kind of represent yourself based off of your location and target audience of it.
When you go there, do you notice that they have a distinct color in their office? Like they have an accent color of like their chairs are deep purple, or because you could pick an accent like Carl was saying, like an accent color or a couple colors, and instead of having like a full palette.
He's very Tuscan. It's very like Tuscan in there.
Lovely.
So,
Very soothing.
Oh, okay.
yeah. Like stained glass front door and like really nice
Yeah.
tile work for the bathroom area. I can't remember I think the first floor when you enter is high traffic carpeting, but I think that's just for the fact that if it rains or something, there's a lot of elderly that goes in there with like handicap stuff and all that.
I mean, I don't think I've ever been in a dentist office that has even thought about color.
Yeah, the walls are white. There's like, it literally is. When I think of the dentist, I just think they have a real nice Tuscan feel for like their bathroom area and kind of the look of their furniture,
Huh.
and their walls are just white. And the furniture is like a leather burgundy-ish maroon kind of color, but it's like
Yeah.
that cool Tuscan stuff with the
Uh-huh.
buttons in it. I'm just like. But I know they're renovating it because he passed away and it's going to be someone else. But I know that they still are going to have the same clientele because that's actually an owned property. He actually owned and built that building, and he like rents out solar panel space on his roof to other like SDG&E, and has like he was a really smart businessman. So it's like it definitely has like this really cool potential, and their website's so bad, so
Yeah.
bad.
Usually is.
Oh.
Well, thank you. I'm actually need to jump to the next room, but great conversations, everyone. I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Keep
Yeah,
going.
that's it.
Oh shit.
Surprise.
Hey, we went through
Hi.
all of our person.
You're all done already? Okay, well, bring something up so I can see it. Somebody share with me. Whoever wants some of my eyes on.
Oh, no one has visuals.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I
Working.
could kind of just like talk through what I
Sure.
have so far. Yeah,
Yeah,
we
go
kind of
for
just
it.
like been saying it verbally. So for mine, I'm doing the Vietnamese sandwich shop, if you remember.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Yeah.
One of my
So
favorites.
so the four user personas. My first one, they'll be a like food enthusiast and adventurous eater. So someone who's just like open to trying like new flavors and new cuisines. Um, and see here in my notes. Yeah, they enjoy like diverse, bold flavors, and they're looking for unique takes on traditional dishes.
Yeah.
Some of their pain points would be that they would get bored with the same chain restaurants and they want more variety.
Yeah.
They would prefer like high quality ingredients, but at reasonable prices. So some ways that our banh mi shop can appeal to them is that we can offer an authentic yet modern take on Vietnamese banh mi and use high quality ingredients. And maybe even have like an Instagrammable like presentation or like environment for this kind of person who's like they're like a foodie, so they're more likely to kind of like take photos and post on their social media. The second persona would be someone who's a Vietnamese or Asian food lovers. So someone who is already pretty familiar with Vietnamese cuisine. They grew up eating these type of foods already, and they want to support local Asian businesses.
Great.
And for their pain point, it's hard for them to get a sandwich that tastes authentic or ones like from Vietnam. And they'd also want an affordable option for their meals. The third one, students or young adults. So I'm thinking for this one, since this shop is in Mira Mesa, it's kind of in between like UCSD, Mira Mesa High School, or Miramar College. So I'm thinking like a student from one of those schools. Yeah, so since they're a student, they're busy balancing their classes, part-time work, and their family and social life. So they'll be looking for affordable, filling, and quick meal options to kind of like balance their schedule. And they were probably looking for like fruit-friendly spots to hang out with their friends or other students. And some pain points, they have limited budget since they're not working, so they need inexpensive prices. And would prefer meals that are portable and convenient to eat in between classes, which is good since this is like sandwiches are pretty, portable or like grab and go. The fourth persona, office worker or busy professionals. So for this person, I'm thinking they're a corporate worker from Sorrento Valley. And because they have a demanding 9 to 5 job, they need like quick but tasty lunch options. They value their health and fresh ingredients, but they don't have time to cook every day. So they would order from takeout or delivery for their convenience. So yeah, since they're a corporate worker, they have limited lunchtime break, so they need fast service and they want flavorful food, but they don't want anything too heavy to get in the way of like their work. And yeah, so for the shop, they would probably like the efficient service and the convenience of ordering online or for pickup. And also banh mi's are pretty health conscious, so this would be good for like working adults kind of like looking in that area.
So it sounds like a lot of common themes are affordability, convenience. Of course, they want authenticity as well. Kind of common themes. So those are, when you're looking at these kind of personas, everyone, and you're starting to look at like consistent themes across your personas, those are ones you're going to want to sort of drill into a little bit and focus in on when you start going through your wireframes. And also visual design is, thinking about these consistent themes across your personas. Convenience, authenticity, affordability for you. Those are definitely the top 3, I think, that kind of stood out to me. So remember, like before I got into my creative direction in my presentation, remember how I had those 4 attributes that I was solving for? It's always a great way to like kind of establish those sort of principles or those attributes that you're kind of checking your boxes to. So Janet, for you, right? Thinking about those attributes, affordability, authenticity, convenience, and maybe even one more, throwing that. And then, you're focusing on those. And so you're really trying to solve, instead of trying to solve for everything, try to solve for a few things, right? To keep things simple. Okay.
Sounds good.
Sure. Okay. I have to jump to another breakout room. Thanks for sharing, and just hang out and get to know each other. We got a few more minutes. Or just sit there and look at each other, whatever works. All right. Talk to you later.
Hey, thanks.
Hello, hello.
Hello.
Have you all finished going through your personas already?
Kind of.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
worked together.
Okay. How was it? Was it useful sharing and getting feedback?
Yes.
Yeah. Um, I know some students haven't actually gotten into visualizing your personas. Have you gotten that far, or are you still sort of writing things out?
Writing things out.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So one bit of advice that I want to reiterate that I just was talking to in the other breakout room is it's better to try to solve for a few topics than try to solve for everything. So it's similar to the presentation that I shared. Remember that slide that I pulled up before I started showing creative? I had those attributes, right? I had disruptive, conversational, scalable, and one more off the top of my head. So one thing that I just shared in the other breakout room was with Janet, some of the core themes that were common across her personas was affordability, authenticity, convenience, and then there's probably a fourth one. So what I told her, and I shared with the rest of the students, is focus on those themes that are common between your personas and solve for those. Don't try to solve for everything. Try to focus on a few items that you're able to kind of drill into and then create, solutions around your wireframing, your usability, and also your visual design based off of those few attributes instead of trying to solve for everything. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, well, I'm going to jump to the last breakout because we only got a few more minutes, and just chill out and wait till we go back, okay?
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
You can leave.
Hello.
Hello.
Bye.
Has everybody finished kind of sharing their personas?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Not sure where you're at with your personas. There's a lot of people that are just sort of in the writing stage, which is fine. There were some people that started actually visualizing their personas a little bit. But one thing that I want to share with you is not trying to solve for everything. Okay. So when you start looking at your personas and you start getting into your wireframes and your visual designs, it's important to solve for common themes across your personas. And what that means is, I'll use Janet as an example. She has this Vietnamese sandwich shop. Her 4 personas, these common themes that were consistent across her personas were authenticity, convenience, affordability, and I think there was a fourth one. So what I kind of reiterated with her and the rest of the team and also the other breakout rooms is it's important, just like in my deck, that presentation I shared with everybody up front. Before I got into the creative direction, I had that slide of attributes that I was solving for. It was 4 of them. And so when you focus on a few key elements and not trying to solve for every single thing, you can become more successful and more focused. And it's a lot easier to be more focused and, and trying to solve for specific things than trying to solve for everything. It just becomes too overwhelming. So what I suggest to you and everybody else is try to identify consistent pain points and themes across your personas and then solve for those. Make sense? Yep. All right. Okay, well, we're kind of wrapping this up, so I'm going to end the breakout rooms here, and we're going to jump back into the main class.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, so good job. It looked like everybody kind of got through their personas with their breakout rooms, which is great. It looks like that most people are still in the writing stage. There were a few that are actually visualizing their personas. But one thing I want to reiterate, and it came up, I think, in the third breakout room, and Janet was sharing her personas. Her client is the Vietnamese sandwich shop. And the thing that was brought up that I want to kind of sum up as we're going through the personas, and then we start solving for the wireframes in the visual design, are these key attributes. And the thing that we identified with Janet when she was explaining her personas is that there were common attributes to her personas. And those common attributes, sorry, one second, I'm going to mute Melinda. There you go. So those common attributes for Janet's personas were authenticity, convenience, affordability, and there's probably a fourth one. Janet, was there like a fourth one that came to mind?
Not yet. Those are the big three for
Okay.
now.
Those are the big three, which are still fine. Those are good three. You may come up with the fourth one. So the thing that I wanted to really drive home here is you're not here to solve every person's problems. If you were, you'd be a therapist. Okay, we're not here to solve everybody's problems. But what we can do is solve some key topics. And these key topics that can be consistent across your personas are ones that you can kind of sink your teeth into. And it's no different than what you're looking at right here and what I shared first thing this morning in my presentation to a real paying client. I had conversations with my client. I had them answer a creative questionnaire. We nailed, we really kind of fine-tuned what the core target audience is and what the future target audience is. And what we pulled out over here, myself and my partner, is the attributes were we need to solve, have a humorous tone. It needs to be conversational. It needs to be disruptive, and it needs to be scalable. Just like for Janet, she needs to represent an authentic vibe. she needs to represent affordability, and she needs to represent convenience. So those are three common attributes of her personas that I highly recommend that she focuses in on when she's solving for her wireframes and her visual design. Because then what it does is, right, it sets you up for success when your client starts questioning your suggestions. When your client goes, you know, this doesn't relate to me. I'm not sure, like, he said, he goes, these people don't really relate to me. I go, yeah, because they're not your future target audience, because you, client, are not your target audience and your future target audience. You're trying to bring in new revenue. So we're targeting your future target audience with this theme. And he is like, light bulb moment, bing. Ah, I understand. Yes, Carl.
Okay, I am understanding you crystal clear on the using like those key attributes to kind of inform your process moving forward. So
Yeah.
my question is it super important in the wireframe stage where, because I understand that we're not really going to be using actual words and images, so we're just doing kind of layout and representations of
Well,
that,
when you're
right?
high fidelity, you can. Yeah. Remember
Oh,
the
okay.
high fidelity? Like when you start getting into high fidelity, you can start putting in real content. And you know the purpose of that, Carl, is to identify mostly content length and priority. Okay. So when you get into those high fidelity wireframes, it's really useful to start putting in and using real content so the client understands the hierarchy of the content and the flow and also the amount of content that needs to go in there. Because if you leave it up to the client, they'll probably write a novel on the homepage because that's what they think is important. But then Janet will go, hey, client, your target audience is about convenience and they need to quickly scan the homepage and get to a menu. So they don't care about, I don't know, your whole history of your family history of this or that, or what you were inspired by. That doesn't matter on the homepage. So you see where that makes sense?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So what you'll start getting into and what I want to see, especially when we start getting into the next assignment, the wireframes, is I want to see how you're solving for these common themes across your personas. It is very important you start practicing this methodology in your process because it helps you become successful. It helps you to be able to win and not have an abundance of changes. There's nothing better, I swear to you, there's nothing better than to hang up that phone and to hear a client go, wow, I don't have any changes. You're like, boom, that's right, man. Like, because if I was a baseball player, I'd be like just knocking it out of the park every time, Babe Ruth all the time, right? Or whoever is a great baseball player today, I have no idea. But you know, you get what I'm saying. I'm trying to set you up for success. I want you to be happy, successful, enthusiastic, and passionate creatives and make money while doing it. Because who wants to be a poor, starving designer? I don't know about you, but I don't. I want to buy a home. I want to live in Costa Rica. As a matter of fact, just to let you know, that's where I'm going next week to look at my new property. So that's why or tomorrow, I'm leaving tomorrow because I have been very successful in my career. And my wife and I have bought a property and we're building a new home because like I want to see my students be more successful than me. There's nothing better that like makes me so proud to see Margaret working at Google, probably making over 200,000 a year. That's bitching, it just makes me so proud. So I want you to be successful. I want you to be prosperous, and I want you to, just enjoy what you're doing. So anyway, oh, there's a chat. Sorry, because I got a cup. I'm just really milking it here for you guys. Oh, Sam, thank you, Sam. Appreciate that. Yeah, if you've never been to Costa Rica, I highly recommend it. It is one of the most beautiful places on earth. Everybody thinks San Diego's beautiful, and we're from San Diego, and it is beautiful. But damn, Costa Rica, something else. All right. So, anyways, blah blah blah. So let's see. Thank you again. I just posted it, everyone. You look at Canvas. Okay, everybody pay attention, please. I put it in the announcement right here. The lecture today is lecture wireframes. It is the link to the lecture and also Bradford's Zoom link right there in that announcement. So make sure that on Wednesday you're going to his Zoom and he will be blah, 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 going through this presentation. Hero sections. Come on. Wow. I have no idea why. Come on. So slow. Give it a second. So, yeah, he's going to be going through this. Oh, I need to put a new quote in there. But yes, the assignment that's due is user flows on Wednesday. You're going to start wireframing, and he's a great, great person to really kind of ask any questions and help you out with wireframing and to go through the assignment. But he'll be going through all of that on Wednesday. Yeah, and I need to update that. Give you a new quote. Any final questions? We got a couple minutes. Any thoughts, questions, frustrations, success stories? I wish I had my new dog in here to show you. Her name is Pez, and she's a little Chihuahua rescue. Pez. No, she's very shy. She came from a challenged life, put it that way. Poor little thing. But yes, Sam. Oh, look at Caroline's little critter. Yes, Sam.
So for the persona, like when we hand it in, are we supposed to use that outline that you or the template that you gave us? Like, should we hand that in as is, or should we like make our own template with our own?
I recommend you make your own just so it's really authentic to yourself and your the brand and the company. And you can use any of those formats that I gave examples of. You could use, like the vertical format. Let me go over here real quick. You could use like a vertical format like we did for Mazda and also, Mall of America, or you could use more of a horizontal format like in some of these previous student examples. So I'll leave it up to you, but have fun with it and be creative. I think that's the most important thing. Make it authentic to the brand and yeah, just have fun with it. Right. Anything else? All right. Well, then if that's that, you got a couple minutes back and I appreciate everybody's time and efforts. Work hard, have fun doing it. All right. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Later.